Hello and welcome to Security Awareness Training. We're so happy you're here. Livestorm begins all of our webinars with your sound on mute. So if you can't hear us, click on the screen to turn on the sound. Your microphone will remain muted, but please use the chat to talk to us. We actually have one of our team members in there right now, Brad Swanson, so please make sure to chat with us there. And also let us know when you're dialing in from. If the alerts become too much for you, you can mute them by clicking on the bell on the right-hand side. After this webinar, you are going to receive a recording. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. You can reach me at virginia@criticalinsight.com. That's Virginia with 3 eyes, just like the state. I'm going to hand it over here to Mike Hamilton, Critical Insights CISO. Thank you very much, Mike. Please kick us off.
All right. So hang out with us while we do this. This is you're doing something good for the world because cybercrime was an $8 trillion problem in 2022, and it's not going away. And so the more that we can inform, educate ourselves about the tools, tactics, procedures that they're coming at us with, the better we're going to be able to resist that. If you need credit for being here, because sometimes, because this is an annual requirement, if somebody said, hey, you got to go take that training, and you need a certificate that says, hey, I took the training, we can give you that. Again, contact Virginia. We've got a certificate we can send you. And stay with us to the end because there's a survey. We always want to know how we did, how we can do better. So this is what we do. We are cybersecurity as a service. We help you prepare through the application of preventive controls and handling your compliance tasks. We help you detect. We will monitor your network. We will respond when we're monitoring your network, or even if we're not, we can help engage in incident response. So we are a full service cybersecurity as a service company. We kick bad guys out of networks and we break into computer networks. And that's oversimplified, but that's what we do. Okay, so today, I will do the talking. Virginia is here to keep me in line. I need handlers and supervision, it turns out. And Brad, my deputy CISO, is here, and he will be helping in the chat. Brad can answer about any question you have about security. He is extremely experienced and well-seasoned. Okay, with that, why are you here? You might be here because your organization holds a lot of information that if it is lost, disclosed, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And that could be customer information, personally identifiable information, personal health information, financial records, things like that. You don't want to lose that stuff. That always ends up in a class action suit today, and we don't want that. Could be intellectual property, your company's secrets. And there's a lot of espionage going on right now, and depending on what your business in, you may be the object of desire of lots of countries that want to steal what you have. Okay? You may be here because you're in the public sector. And the services that you provide keep us alive: water purification, waste treatment, traffic management, communications for law enforcement, public safety, emergency management, elections. That's what the public sector does. We don't want that knocked down. That affects us at the scale we live our lives. It's an annual requirement. Maybe somebody said you had to be here, and maybe you're just bored and wanted to hang out for a while. We don't really care. What we want you to take away: the internet is not a nice place. The internet that you interact with wants to sell to you, steal from you, and manipulate your opinion. And as we get closer to this election, the whole manipulate your opinion thing is going to suck all the air out of the room. Your passwords, credentials, they're under active attack. Credential abuse is one of the main ways that people get initial access into your network so that they can lay the bomb, light the fuse, and then wait and then extort you for money. We don't want that. The bait's coming from everywhere now. It is text messages, phone calls, social media, yes, email. We are going to go through a whole lot of examples of the bait and show you how to recognize it. And be aware that today it's not just a shotgun blast out over the internet trying to fool gullible people. It's targeted. They're going to research you and your organization on LinkedIn, find out who reports to who, find out who can authorize the movement of money. They're going to drill their way in, and they're going to figure out how to take what you have. So buckle up. Our stuff keeps your stuff from becoming their stuff. Let's go. All right. Wrap your head around what we're really trying to do here, okay? This is not about cyber, scary Russian cyber, buffer overflow, SQL injection, and all the secret handshake language we use. This is about trying to avoid business outcomes that cost money: unauthorized disclosure of protected records, theft through business email compromise, extortion, ransomware, denial of service. You can be used as a third party to attack your business associates, or you may just get knocked down for the sake of getting knocked down. In today's geopolitical environment, that last one is starting to become very, very prevalent. Okay, so as we go through this, remember, these are the outcomes we are trying to avoid, right? We're not going to, use all the secret handshake language. We're going to keep this in mind. All right, a little bit of vocabulary, because yeah, we have weird words. All right, ransomware, it's extortion. All right, here's how it works. You get a little piece of unwanted software on a computer in your network, right? That's the way everything starts. That little piece of unwanted software can do lots of things. It can look around for records to steal. It can surveil your keystrokes. It can snarl your network by encrypting everything on the network and making everything stop. That's ransomware. And when that happens, it's followed by an extortion demand. And those extortion demands have gone way, way up. A lot of times they come in through a third party because you have networks of trust between you and business associates. But when this gets on your network, it's very, very bad. And the extortion demand means you immediately call your insurance company. They are in the driver's seat, and you don't have a lot of control after that. You don't want ransomware to happen. Business email compromise. There's a few levels of this. On the low end, I will just send your accounts payable people an invoice and maybe they'll pay it. Right? If there's a certain threshold under which they don't even question things, and maybe that's true for your business. Kind of in the middle, you will get email from the CEO, someone in a position of authority saying, I need you to buy gift cards for me. I'm at a conference and I want to give them away to our customers. Okay. On the high end, here's how it works. And here's an example from the city of Seattle. City of Seattle supports Mary's Place. It's a homeless shelter for women and children. And a few years ago, someone compromised the email system at Mary's Place. Somebody's in their email it's not supposed to be. And that person surveilled the messages, found out who they needed to talk to at the city of Seattle, okay, somebody that handles the distribution of the funds to nonprofits, and said, hey, we just got a new bank account. Here's the new routing number. All new deposits ought to go to this bank account. They didn't find out till $800,000 later. Okay, that's business email compromise. And today, that is combined with things like deepfakes. And so you hear the CEO asking you for an emergency wire transfer or something like that. Got to be very careful about that. We're going to show examples of things like deepfakes. Cryptocurrency mining. What is that? A little piece of unwanted software gets on a computer. But this one goes to work trying to solve a cryptographic algorithm, and when it finds a solution, it's a huge differential equation, it mints a coin, and the miner is paid for the coin. All right, well, if power is cheap, you just go out and rack up computers out in Wenatchee, Washington, where all the power comes from falling water, call it good. If you don't want to pay for power, you use a network of compromised computers all over the world and have them do that work. How do you know this is happening to you? Your computer fan won't turn off. Your computer is very slow. It just won't work. You try to do video and the video is all jerky. Something's not right here. Okay. That's the kind of thing you should report. We'll come back to that. Okay. That was a little bit of vocabulary, not much. Now, how does all this stuff start? All right. This is one of the most important ones. Exploiting vulnerabilities. What is a vulnerability, right? This is one of these words. It's kind of amorphous. Nobody really knows what it means. Here's what it means. I'm going to give you an example. A long time ago, a program called SendMail, the original mail transport agent. Not what you type email into, but when you hit send, it's the server that it goes to on your network that figures out what the real destination is and then makes that delivery. Okay, it's mail transport agent. So Eric Allman, grad student, Berkeley, writing SendMail, and he says, okay, now I need a variable for sender address. Sender address can never be more than 255 characters. I'm going to give that a 255 byte buffer. And he did not bound the buffer to prevent things from overflowing it. So what happens when a piece of email comes in and the sender address has 256 characters or 741 or 1460, okay? It overflows the buffer. And if you get that offset just right, you can put your choice of executable code into the running stack of the machine. It's now your machine. You own it. You can do anything you want with that machine. All right. Now, the reason this is very important is because in today's world, when a vendor releases a patch, an update for a product, and it's a product that you use, and it's a product that faces the internet. Okay, and there's lots of these. A Cisco firewall, a Sonic Wall firewall, your remote access, Ivanti, remote access, remote desktop protocol, all these things that face the internet. If something has gone wrong and there is a vulnerability that has been announced in one of those products and the patch released, here's what happens. Organized crime and nation states go to work right away, reverse engineering the patch to find out what it fixes. That way, they can design the exploit that will break that thing if you can find it before they patch it. Simultaneously, scanning of the internet will start immediately to find those vulnerable exposures, those products out there that they can exploit. All right. It was reported that when Exchange on-premise, Exchange, not in the cloud Exchange, Exchange on-premise had a vulnerability, the scanning of the internet looking for exposures of Exchange servers on premise started within 5 minutes of the announcement. And it was the country of China doing the scanning. All right. This is serious business. You need to treat that as an incident. If there is something you have that faces the internet and a patch comes out and they announce the vulnerability, drop what you are doing. Okay. For home business users, you're going to get your Microsoft patches. Remember that you have to reboot in order to activate the patches. So if you look down on the bottom right of your tray and there's a little orange dot down there, that means as soon as we're done here, you need to reboot your computer because your patches have not been activated. Patches usually come out once a month, right around first, second Tuesday of a month. It's been a little more variable lately. Your iPhone will get nasty with you. Say, look, I got my patches. I have been telling you to restart. So go to sleep because I'm just going to do it in the middle of the night. You wake up, yeah, you have a new phone in the morning. And you should really restart your phone about once a week anyway, right? Just shut it down, turn it back on, just to kind of flush out any crud you might have picked up. Android and Linux, which are essentially the same operating system, you need to go review the admin settings, make sure that auto update is what you're doing. You don't want to be responsible for, I wonder if I need patches. Right? You want them to come to you and want the operating system to tell you, hey, it's time to activate these. And again, if you are on the IT team and something you have facing the internet has now released a patch and announced a vulnerability, that's an incident. That is your highest priority. Get your stuff patched. Okay, that was breaking into a network by exploiting vulnerabilities. How about a compromised website? What's a compromised website? You get messages all the time where a link will come in with no context. Oh, I think I'll just check that out. Don't do that, right? Read this for me. Okay, so clearly this is hexadecimal encoded, and you know that because there is only 0 through F here, and that's 16 characters. But we started getting calls at the city of Seattle from people that had gone to look up their local library branch, Seattle Public Library's website, and now they're calling saying, well, my computer's all hosed up. What happened? So we went over there and started looking around, and we found this in the web server log file. And of course, we say, we know this is hexadecimal encoded. Let's decode it. That's what it really says. Okay, so they obfuscated what went into the log file so that we couldn't find it using our detection methods that we're looking for patterns that we recognize. All right. Now, what you're looking at here is structured query language, SQL, okay, SQL. And see the little part in red there? What that means is when you go look up your local library branch, you're getting a little present on the side from China that you don't know anything about. Right? It is completely silent and in the background. How did this happen? The site was injected. What does that mean? The way that you interact with a web application is through form fields, okay? Set aside APIs and all the automated stuff going on in the background, right? But you're doing this through form fields. And a well-formed, mature application will take what you type into that form field and look at it and say, is this what I expected? Any weird characters in here? Does this match the pattern of any kind of known attack? Okay, database, give them what they want. Okay. If it is not a mature application that is using server-side input validation and other controls, you can put structured query language commands directly into the form field and talk to the database. This turns out it's a really easy thing to do. There are tools out there that make this super easy to use, right? Hundreds of thousands of sites get injected every day. Here's what's going on in the background. Here's the redirect. See the victims there on the left? The 156.74s went to a couple of legit sites that had been injected and immediately redirected them in the background to these 6 very bad places right here. Panama, Macedonia, I don't know what you did to get on that list, but okay, that's bad. Didn't know you were bad, but you're bad. All right, so remember, the little present on the side can happen to you if you hit links you get with no context. And in fact, this could happen when a site that was perfectly good yesterday is no longer good today because it got injected overnight. Okay, so willy-nilly surfing around the internet, you're going to trip over one of these. Absolutely. Okay, sometimes they will draw you in. This is called a watering hole attack. I can send you bait that takes you to a site, a page on a site that we have injected, we have booby trapped, and we're going to draw you to that, not wait for you to trip over it. We're going to draw you to it. That's why the links that show up with no context from somebody you don't know that you didn't expect, you should stay away from. Seriously, stay away from stuff like that. Okay. Here's an example using Temu. Okay. The drop ship from China straight from manufacturers, circumvents tariffs and all kinds of things like that. Okay. First of all, the application they want you to put on your phone, the app on the phone is so bad that researchers have taken this apart and they said every bad thing an app could possibly do, this one does. Okay. So I would really say if you have that app on your phone, you want to get rid of that right away. It's tracking you. When you hit that end user license agreement and said, I agree, you gave up your contact list. They can access all kinds of things on your phone, like your camera if they want. I mean, nobody reads that stuff. But if you have this app on your phone, get rid of it. Oh, and let me just say, they're out there creating fake sites as fast as they can. We've all seen these Temu ads everywhere, right? And if you hit one of these ads, it might be going to one of these fake sites, and all it's going to do is collect your credit card, right? And there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these. Okay.
Mike, quick question before we go on. So if somebody has downloaded those things, what are they supposed to do? Just delete them?
Yes. That's all you can do. I mean, all you can do is get rid of it. You can reset your phone to factory to really make sure you've gotten rid of it, but at least delete it off your phone.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so that was breaking into a network by exploiting vulnerabilities, tripping over an injected website, and now credential theft and abuse. And this is kind of the big one. Credential abuse is out of control. Look at the graph on the right here, and this is a little older, but what it shows is the rise in sites that have been identified as phishing sites. Okay, phishing, a fake login page. That's really what it is, and it's trying to get you to give up your password so that it can walk into your network. Look at the corresponding drop in sites that push malware. Why do those run together like that? One is rising, one is falling, because the control that will reliably fail is the one between the ears. Absolutely, there's no firewall for gullibility. They know that. Okay. Some estimates say that 90% of compromises start with somebody giving up a password or other kinds of credential abuse. Okay. For example, credential stuffing. What's stuffing? Hey, all I got to do is keep guessing passwords until I get in. They don't have multi-factor authentication on their remote access method, so I can just keep guessing passwords and I'm finally going to get it. Because it turns out there's a top 100 passwords that are very commonly used. And all of the password guessing kits know that. They also know the patterns that people typically use. So if you use fall 2024 exclamation point, they know that pattern. Okay. And a lot of people will just go, okay, now it's winter 2024 bang. And now it's, and so they're going to be trying that stuff. And we just responded to an incident recently where they got into an emergency management organization by guessing spring 2024 bang. Okay. That is a self-inflicted wound, right? The other way this happens is they take databases of passwords that have been disclosed and they will just try all those, right? And eventually they will get a hit. One of the benefits of this to the attacker is that you can do this in a very low and slow way. So if there's 100 users, I take password number 1, try it with all 100 users in succession. That didn't work. Password number 2, all 100 in success. Didn't work. Finally, you're going to get to somewhere where that a password will work, but nobody got 3 login failures within 5 minutes, and nobody gets locked out of the network and calls the help desk. You don't know what's going on unless you're monitoring your network and you see these things happening. And where it says bot-driven credential attacks, that's for real. Here is a bot-driven credential attack against me. Look at the timestamps on here. They're all at 2:56. One of them is at 2:57 in the afternoon. What's happening here? All right, they're coming from Kuwait, Moscow, China, India. Okay, this is not a person behind a keyboard. This is a network of compromised computers that are all under some command and control, centralized command and control, and have been ordered to guess passwords on my account. Now, this wouldn't work. It went on about every 20 seconds for a very long time, multiple days. So they were serious. And why are they coming after me? Because I'm a talking head on TV and I talk about what China's doing and they don't like what I say. And you might want to look for things like this. If you use an authenticator, like I use the Microsoft Authenticator and Google Authenticator for other things, but you can go in there and say, and you can look at recent activity, and you might find out people are trying to guess passwords on your account. And again, these are bots, right? Compromised computers that have been instructed to do this all over the world. It's coming from everywhere. This would not have worked on me because we use pervasive multi-factor authentication here, and we have something called conditional access policy. I can't log in from outside the country. That's a very good policy to implement, by the way, until the CEO travels and doesn't tell anybody, gets locked out. And then it's just too bad. All right. All right. So that was credential abuse. Okay. Stuffing, guessing. There's also password cracking. If they can get a database of encrypted passwords, they know the encryption schema. They can go to work trying to decrypt those. There's a lot of ways that credentials can be abused, and this is one of the main ways that they get initial access into the network. Now,
Hey, Mike, before we jump
yes,
too far, authenticators, can you walk through that real quick?
sure. An authenticator app is the thing that will give you the code, and it's better than having it come over as a text message, because a text message is a plain text transmission. It's not encrypted. But when you use an authenticator app, you are working with Microsoft, Duo, right? Okta, Google. There's a number of them. And it's a secure transmission of the second factor that you must issue in order to log into the thing that you're trying to access. And so an authenticator app is a much better way to do it than just using text messages. Yes, when you're using Amazon, when you're using a lot of the retail services, they will just send you a text message. But when you're talking about your work computer, it's much better to use an authenticator.
And authenticators can be free, right?
Yeah, they're all free.
Thanks, Mike.
You know, you've got to buy Microsoft licenses to make this particular one work, and those are not free, but okay. So there's things about us cognitively that help the people that are sending the bait. Okay, and it's good to be aware of these things. So the halo effect, a company I really like and respect. I'm maybe not going to be as careful if I really like Lowe's and I get something from Lowe's. Okay, free trials, limited time offers, right? They're trying to use a sense of urgency to get you to act. Okay. The curiosity effect is a huge one. I remember City of Seattle news articles, right? When things are in the news, you want to go find out right now. You want to know what the hurricane damage was from Helene, right? So you could be getting bait based on, let's look at what Helene did, right? And I remember one at the City of Seattle, Saddam Hussein found alive. Worked on everybody. It was awful. Okay. Authority bias. That's a big one. If you get something from someone in a position of authority, you're more likely to act without being careful. Okay. We have examples of that. And look at the statistic at the bottom. Over 90% of these begin with a phishing email. All right. And the phishers know these things about us, and this is how they design their bait. Okay. Again, cybercrime, third largest economy in the world. These are not amateurs. All right. I talked about business email compromise. Here's an example. This came to me from Garrett Silver, our CEO, whose email address is not chief_.officer1@AOL.com. Okay. And I know that because I know the last remaining AOL user, and I won't disclose the name. So look what it says. Michael, I'm arranging some gifts for the staffs. Okay, first of all, grammatical glitch right there. If all you saw was Garrett Silver and immediately your eyes went down, that's the first thing you notice. But set that aside, right? That's a grammatical construct that's used in the UK, in India, in some places in Africa. But look at the technique here. Look at the tactic. I'm being asked to buy gift cards. Oh, I remember that security awareness training, and that dude talked about gift cards as being one of the tactics for business email compromise. I think I'll just delete this and move on. Okay. Right away, your eyes should go up to that sender address every time and look at where this is coming from and know that this is not what it says it is. It's also got the banner there. Caution, this email originated from outside the company. It's the CEO outside the company. Wait a minute. AOL. I didn't even know anybody used AOL anymore. Okay. Microsoft will never say this to you. Microsoft says things like this to your administrators, and not this way. They get their information from dashboards. They're managing a Microsoft network. They do not get notices like this from Microsoft. Okay. Now, every one of these is trying to get you to perform some kind of action. Click on a link, and every one of those links will take you to a page that's asking for your password. You're already logged in. You don't get asked for a password when you're already logged in. Okay. When something asks you for a password and you are already logged in, stop what you are doing. Look very carefully at the information in front of you. Ask a question if you need to, and you're probably going to report this, delete this, and move on. Go about your business. All right. Outlook does not prevent the delivery of new email because your email is full. Email is not going to be full. You can really rely on infinite space now, infinite storage. I mean, for crying out loud, Google's got every video that's ever been uploaded to YouTube. They're not running out of space. Microsoft's not going to run out of space. Okay. These things work though because of authority, right? It's Microsoft telling me something, or it's that, halo effect. Oh, Microsoft's a good company, whether you think so or not. I mean, Microsoft's a great company. Well, yeah, this must be true. No, it's not true. Right. And again, look at the return addresses. Okay. None of those return addresses make any sense at all. All right. This ought to be easy for you to suss this out, and yet this stuff works. Okay, we don't want this to work anymore. Okay, a QR code is a URL. You just have no idea what it's going to do, where it's going to take you. Stuff like this arrives out of the blue. You need to be very suspicious of this. Especially it's looking like it's coming from Microsoft, right? Don't scan codes that come in like this, even if it says this is your multi-factor authentication setup. All right. If you already have multi-factor authentication, you know this is fake. If you don't, it's the kind of thing your administrators are going to roll out. It's not Microsoft talking to you about it. Okay. And again, the return address comes from somewhere nonsensical. All right. A lot of this going on where they're trying to get you to download a document where you will immediately be presented with a login page for Dropbox. What is it? Docs Online e-signature, right? DocuSign. There's a fake voicemail attachment there. Hey, if you want to listen to your voicemail, you got to give me your password. And what they'll give you is a Microsoft login page, okay? Because you're not a dial pad customer. Every one of these is a phishing message. And again, look at the return address. QWorks USA, what is that? All right. It's easy to suss this stuff out, but remember these tactics. They're trying to get you to bite on a link that's going to ask you for your credentials. That's what phishing is all about. And not all of these are straight phishing. They can also be malicious. They can go straight to a malware, an injected site. Okay, remember I said urgency. They use urgency. No, you're not going to get a free toolbox for giving Lowe's your opinion. No, they don't do that. All right. Look at the T-Mobile here. 9 rewards remaining. All right, this went out to tens of thousands of people. Okay, there's not 9 rewards remaining. There's no way they could possibly say that and send out a piece of email all over the place and back that up. All right. So free offers, time sensitivity, big warning signs. Okay, somebody is trying to get you to perform an action based on some bait they hung in front of you. Okay, don't click. Oh, wow, CVS will give me $300 to $450 for 20 to 30 minutes of work. Sign me up. No, delete. Came from a number you don't recognize. Is not a credible offer. You did not expect this. And that one thing, something you don't expect, that's one of the things to keep in mind here. That is one of the key things to keep in mind. Something comes in out of the blue, you didn't expect it. There's no reason for you to take it seriously. Hey, this thing you
Right.
don't know you
Before
own
we go on,
is,
real
yeah.
quick, the things that you don't expect. I know we already touched on this a little bit, that it's
Hmm.
that time of year where we don't necessarily want to believe everything that we hear
Hmm.
coming into election season. But there seems to be a lot of stuff that's going into people's phones nowadays. Is there any way for us to kind of protect ourselves and shut down those different people and things and stuff that are coming at us from every which way and upside down?
Generally, no. Generally, no. All you can do is resist it. I will give you one exception, though. So when we talk about business email compromise and account redirection, okay, a lot of times you'll get somebody in your organization, maybe you will get a piece of email and it will look like it came from somebody that works in your organization. And they're going to say, hey, I have a new bank account. I need my paychecks to be deposited in this new account. And it won't have any account information in there. And so what we do is we will talk back and say, okay, where do you want it to be deposited? And they will give us a routing number and an account number, and it goes boop over the wall to the Washington State Fusion Center in our state, and then we'll be remanded to the FBI so the FBI can go take down that bank account and prevent people from being ripped off. Okay, that's one way to do this. In general, this stuff is coming from all over the world. You have no idea how to attribute this to a person, and really all you can do is resist it. Good question. Okay. When we buy a laptop, for a parent, grandparent, something, it comes loaded down with all kinds of stuff. We don't really know what's on there. You spend a lot of time deleting this stuff, and you may get a message like this: "Oh no, wow, I had antivirus Norton. I didn't even know. Maybe I better pay up." No, you'll get things like this that are claiming a product that you own is now expired. You need to relicense it, things like that. Check and see if you own this, because they don't notify you like this. You will not get an email message. Norton by Symantec does not know your email address. Okay. So that's why this one is known to be fake, because came in as email. There's no way for them to know my email. Okay. All right. LinkedIn. LinkedIn has become, and social media in general, has become a bit of a cesspool. So this is recent. It was a fake job offer. And the entire image here was a clickable link, not just the download for free where they want you to download the, anything you clicked on in here is going to take you to a bad place. Okay. And so you go and you hover over the link, and a lot of, everybody knows this technique. You hover over the link and you go, oh, ha, ha, ha. I see that goes to a dentist office. I'm not going to click that link. Good on you. Take it one step further. Take that URL and run it through VirusTotal, and there's other services like this, and it will run 90 something virus checkers over and tell you what it is. And the answers may not all be consistent, but it's bad. And that way you can prove to yourself that it's bad. So links that you get, it's a really good idea to run them through this. Attachments, run them through this. Something comes into your info address, okay, which is a little harder to control than other mailboxes, and say, here's an RFP. Would you like to bid on this? Or it's a perfectly normal thing to come into an info address, right? Run that attachment through VirusTotal before you open it up. Okay, it's a very good service. Oh, more LinkedIn. Here's Carlota, who is a senior consultant at Critical. No, Carlota does not exist. Sorry. So there's a lot of impersonation going on. And if you go to LinkedIn and look at your company and look at people for your company, you will find some of these. You will find some of these impersonators. Now, there's a couple of things that they will do here. So they will first try to engage you in some kind of dialogue, some kind of get to know ya thing, and it could be to gain trust with your business associates so that there can be this account redirection, right? Business email compromise. It can also be that they are going to interest you in a cryptocurrency investment opportunity, and they will get you to invest a little money and you'll make a little money. And they'll say, oh, hey, there's a one-time thing. We know this thing's going to pop. You got to invest now. And I know a person that put $60,000 into one of these, and then they drain the wallet and they disappear. Okay. There's a term for it. I didn't make it up. It's called pig butchering. It's a Chinese term, and there are sweatshops of people, some of whom have been trafficked, that are behind all of this. Okay. So be very aware when somebody is trying to reach out to you on social media, somebody you don't know, and all of a sudden, right out of the gate, they're trying to, hey, why don't we talk on the phone? No. All right. Now you see how I handle this here. This is the way this is handled. It is very clear what is going on here to me. And in fact, when I get these things, I will send them to a link that talks about pig butchering, or how North Korean hackers are trying to infiltrate security researchers, things like that, by impersonating on social media. All right, and then they go away. They just disappear. One of them got pretty nasty with me, but they went away. Fake voicemail. This was a recent campaign. This is when it says delivered to me on Monday. Well, it was Monday, February 16th. So these things you really need to watch out for, because you may get legit voicemail attachments from Vonage or some other service that you have. And when these things come in, they are a little harder to assess by the email filtering that goes on routinely to get attachments and links dropped and things like that, right? So here's what was in that one. All right. This is not voicemail. This is not, no, this is an HTML encoded binary, and probably malware. Don't know. I could have uploaded this in a buyer's total. I didn't, because I can see right here what this thing is, and I really don't like it. Okay. Here's another one. Here's an attachment with a rigged PDF here. And wow, looks like our email filtering did not catch the Chinese dialogue going on there. And see what this one is wanting me to do, right? Please process ACH, Automated Clearinghouse, for this Deloitte's invoice today. Okay, grammar's bad. You don't use, well, I guess it's Deloitte's, belongs to Deloitte. I don't know. But user at gravaverano.com, really? Uh-huh. Right? This stuff is not hard to suss out if you just look at the information in front of you.
Hey, Mike, to chime in real quick. This is getting harder though with ChatGPT, isn't it?
Well, the bait is getting better, and I actually have an example of a Chat GPT or a generative AI written phishing message that I will show you. It's harder and harder to rely on grammatical mistakes because of that. So this was very common when everybody got locked down out of COVID, but this still happens all the time. Now, this one's a little bit different, because there's no link in here for you to hit. That's not what this is. So they will send you an invoice and say, hey, thanks for buying this thing, and it's all processed and it's paid. Do you want to dispute this transaction? Call this number. And you'll call the number, and they'll say, oh, okay, well, we'll reverse that. Can you give me the credit card number and the details there, and your CVV number and all of that? And you just gave up your credit card number. So when we were all locked down, people were buying like Pelotons and exercise equipment, and these things were everywhere. All right. But remember the tactic: an invoice, not an invoice, but a statement for something that you have paid for already. And they say, if you want to dispute this, call this number. Don't call the number. All right, this is like all kinds of alarm bells should go off here, okay? Dear Facebook user. All right, look, I dumped Facebook a long time ago because I really do not like, sorry to all the marketing people in the world, I really don't like the creepy tracking. All right, so I dumped Facebook. I only use social media that Virginia makes me use, which is LinkedIn. Okay, that's for a different thing. But something that says, dear Facebook user, Facebook's supposed to know your damn name. That's why it's Facebook. Okay, So when it says update your Facebook account because, hey, we're trying to get everybody to change their password. They're never going to make you change your password. They don't do that, right? But when you hit update, it's going to ask you for your Facebook password. Stop what you are doing. Look at all the information in front of you. Remember the security awareness training. Report this, and then just move on. And why do you report it? Others in your organization may have gotten it, and you want that removed from all of their mailboxes. Every day we do this.
Hey, Mike, again, how do I report it?
Well, it's individual to your company. We have an address that we report it to, and I could give you that, and it would mean nothing to anyone but us.
I mean,
But
for
your
total
organization should
attendees.
have. It should have some way to report stuff, right? Some way to submit things, especially if you get a suspect phishing message. Pretty much every organization's got some place you can send that to so that they can not only confirm that's what it is, but remove it from everybody else's mailbox. And that's really what you need to do. Okay, link with no context at all. Kelly Bannon is a friend of mine. I went to college with Kelly Bannon. Kelly Bannon lives in Simi Valley, California, and not Sri Lanka, which is the .lk top level domain. All right. This thing's got, hey, it smells written all over it. All right. But the tactic, the link with no context, and this is a shortened link. You have no idea where this goes. All right. These are dangerous. Be very suspicious. Okay. So let's try to summarize some of this. What was wrong with those? Your real name is not used. The sender address is messed up. They may be using BCC if it says to undisclosed recipients, or if it looks like it's mailed to the sender. Okay. I mailed it to myself. My name doesn't show up there. That's BCC. Some of these want you to interact and email them back. Okay. You got it from unitednations.com and you reply and it's going to Gmail. That's called a reply to address. And that's part of the original specification for the Simple Mail Transport Protocol, SMTP. A link that comes in with no context, obviously. Grammar and spelling, but again, to Virginia's point, you can't really count on this one anymore. It's got a banner saying this came from outside the company, but more important than anything, you didn't expect any of this. Why did some internet rando send me this? Right? Ask yourself that question when something like this shows up. All right? The things that you should be suspicious of, things that come out of the blue. Anything having to do with payment, finance, money, right? Trying to get you to perform some action and there's some kind of money transaction involved. Attachments, right? Especially the ones that come in through an info address, right? Run those through VirusTotal. Anything from Microsoft that looks like it's talking to you. Microsoft does not talk to you, right? Anything with a return address of onmicrosoft.com, which is a domain that Microsoft gives people to use so that they can, use and Microsoft services and use their email. Anything coming from the CEO or a person of authority, right? Basically everything. I'm sorry to tell you, but again, the internet wants to sell to you, steal from you, and manipulate your opinion. Okay? Be very suspicious of everything. There is no firewall for gullibility. You've got to put your radar up. All right. Shall we talk about phones and other things? Because it's not just computers. SIM swapping. What is SIM swapping? So let's say I find out enough information about you, and I can do this to impersonate you. And I can do that with a reasonable skill and call your telephone company, your telco, and say, hey, this is me, and I was backpacking in the Cascade Mountains, and bear ate my phone. So this is my new phone, and I'd like you to connect my old phone number to this phone so that I can continue to use it because I need, my multi-factor authentication, things like that, right? And if I can do that, and I can fool them, and they make that change, I'm now holding your phone. And I can do everything with that you can do with your phone. For example, go to your Gmail account and say, forgot password, or your social media accounts, or your PayPal account, or Amazon, or whatever. And it says, okay, what's the code that came over your phone? And I'm you. I have everything you have. All right. So what's the message here? If your phone stops working for an unknown reason, call your provider and say the following thing. Have there been any changes recently made to my account? And if the answer is yes, cut everything off because somebody's stealing from you right now. This is used a lot to drain cryptocurrency wallets. And if a bear eats your phone, you probably got bigger problems. All right, moving on. So again, we have dumb words. Smishing, all right. SMS, short message service. That's text. That's what it is. It's SMS, okay? So here's one that comes in. These come in all the time. And in fact, the statistic is that the fake USPS sites get almost as much traffic as the real USPS site. And during holiday time, the fake ones get more, all right? That's how gullible people are. Sorry to bang on the desk. All right. You didn't expect this. You don't know where it came from. It's got a funky URL in there that has nothing to do with the United States Postal Service. The instructions are weird. Okay. I ran it through VirusTotal. This is malicious. Okay. And if you hit the link, you may give up access to your phone. Okay. You don't want that. Social engineering. All right. This is social engineering, phishing, smishing, vishing, voicemail phishing. Okay, it's all social engineering. Someone is trying to fool you into doing something. Okay, whether that's giving up your password, giving up your credit card number, whatever. Okay, so now they can deepfake things like a voice, and so there's a classic scam, right? The grandchild in trouble. Hey, grandpa, I was on spring break and I got thrown in jail in Spain, and I need you to bail me out and get me home. And if the voice sounds like the grandson, grandpa is more likely to do that. Okay. So I'll tell you as well, we are a company that fundamentally does two things. We kick bad guys out of computer networks as a service, and we do all of the other things that you need to do to keep your security program going, one of which is breaking into computers. And so as we break into computer networks, if we're having any trouble, one of our techniques, and this is classic for penetration testing, is we'll call the help desk and we will claim to be an employee having a problem and say, look, to recreate this, just go to this URL and read them a URL over the phone, and they will go to that site and we gotcha. We're in, we gotcha. Okay. It's that simple. So somebody gives you a URL over the phone, be very wary of that. Okay. What you need to do, and this is very, very, very good advice for the people that are on your help desk, verify the identity of the caller as independently as possible. Okay. Some organizations are starting to use safe words. Okay. If you are who you say you are, what's our safe word? Okay. Really taking someone's word at face value and just doing it. Remember, there's an authority bias, and you might get a call from the CEO asking you to do something, and it may sound like the CEO. You've got to verify the identity of the caller. All right. And then the deepfakes, that's an actual headline. Mom, these bad men have me. Somebody deepfaked her daughter's voice and claimed daughter was kidnapped. Okay. The voice of the daughter claiming she was kidnapped so that they could get mom to pay a ransom. All right. Starting to happen with greater and greater frequency because that's so easy to do now. Okay, if you're one of the app people, and I am not, I have maybe 3 apps on this phone that I use, you need to be really careful because millions of apps are removed every year from the app stores because developers will send them in there, they'll get somehow in there, and the app may do what it says it does, and it may download malware in the background to compromise your phone or your tablet, right? Your mobile device. So when you're going to use an app, how long has it been in the App Store? How many people have downloaded? How is it rated? How many people have rated it? A 5-star rating by 3 people is statistical fuzz. It means nothing. Okay. Now, what do these apps do? They track you. Your location information is hoovered up, and that's all sent away to somebody who sells it to data brokers who will sell it to anybody that wants. Law enforcement very commonly uses that to circumvent the warrant process. They can go to a data broker and buy your movement information. They hit ad networks in the background, so somebody's getting paid for all the ad access and you're paying for all the data movement. Okay. They can surveil your keystrokes to get your bank account passwords. These are nasty, nasty, nasty things. So be very careful and scrutinize the apps that you put on your phone. Removable media, super dangerous in a number of ways. So first of all, if you have a high schooler in your house who uses a USB stick to move stuff around, don't touch it. It's toxic. Just don't. right? When you go to conferences, all the swag at the conference tables, those USB sticks they're giving away, they're maybe in some cutesy form factor. They're all made in China. You don't know what's in those things. There are more than 100 companies that the federal government says we can't do business with because there's surveillance technology built into the stuff they sell us. The FBI recently had a warning, something called juice jacking. So the rapid charging stations at an airport, you have no idea what is on the other side of that USB port. And when you plug into that and plug into your phone, is it sucking everything off your phone, your contact list, things like that? Maybe, right? So if you find a USB stick, again, we break into computer networks. And if we're having trouble, we know that we can throw a USB stick into a parking lot or leave one in a bathroom, and some good Samaritan is going to pick that up, jack it into a computer, and we gotcha, just like that. And I'll add to this by saying we have uh, an increasing domestic problem with criminals. At one time, this was all on the other side of the world, and they would have to, use networks to get over here and do things like this. Now, because of ransomware as a service, the affiliate models that these criminal corporations use, and they are corporations, okay, means anybody can get into the crime business. And so domestically, a lot of people are, especially a lot of Gen Z. Okay. So now that means they have proximity. They can go throw those USB sticks in your bathrooms because they're here. Right. So be very, very careful about investigating something you find. Turn it in, report it. Okay. Now, my favorite, miscellaneous threats. All right. Everyone has heard of the Nigerian prince. Okay. It's actually called a Nigerian 419 scam. 419 being penal code in Nigeria for fraud. And that's what this is. More correctly, it is called an advance fee scam. Why? It's offering you something of value, okay? Trying to get you to interact, to write back to somebody, and then they're going to start asking you for money. All right. So, for example, they have an ATM card with $10,000 on it that they're giving away, and all you have to do is pay the $135 shipping fee. Okay. It's a soldier in Syria with a barrel of gold. It is a dying woman in Africa who wants someone to help give away her fortune. It's someone who's going to move a pallet of gold from Thailand to China and needs your logistical expertise. Okay. Every one of these, they will start asking you for money. People get pulled into this for years. I know people that have been pulled into this for years, and it's really hard for them to stop. Why? Because psychologically, it is very difficult to admit I have been a dumbass for years and all that money I gave away is gone and I'm not going to get anything for that. That's hard for people to do, right? What they do is they sweeten this thing up with some artifact that makes it look a little more real, okay? No, this is not the U.S. Postal Service, all right? Look who this is too. Undisclosed recipients. Boom. I know this is bad. This is tens of thousands of people got this. This is not for me. Okay. And, the fake badge, don't be pulled in by a fake badge. Now, to Virginia's point, the phishing messages are getting better because now you can have generative AI write them. This is one I got. I have a very old email domain that I've had since 2000 that is a magnet for this kind of stuff. And I use it. A lot of examples come from that. So Ron Conway is a real guy, a billionaire, a philanthropist who is giving away his fortune. And there were a couple of Forbes articles linked in here, I left them out, that actually talked about Ron Conway and the fact that he was giving away his fortune. He's a philanthropist, okay? Now, there's the money quote right there. The purpose of this long, boring letter is I'm giving money away and I've selected you as somebody to get this money, okay? If I write back to Ron Conway, and I did, all you have to do is pay $135 for the card. It's got $500,000 on it, and you got to pay me $135 to get it to you, okay? Please don't be fooled by something like that. Again, no firewall for gullibility, but remember these tactics. Advance fee, offering you something of value, then asking you for money, okay? Don't get sucked in. YouTube comment scams, all right? I am not a musician. I am a drummer. I hang around with musicians. But if you're a musician, you know who this guy Rick Beato is, right? What makes this song great, right? Greatest guitar intros, greatest drum fills, right? Great guy. And so got a YouTube channel. Underneath his video, there's comments. And so Rick will then reply to one of the comments and go, I picked you randomly to have a great price. Let's go to this other communication channel and discuss it. That could end up you giving your credit card away, an advanced fee scam. It could end up with you getting malware, something like that. Okay. Be very careful of stuff. It's not just Rick's channel. It's all over social media and every place where you will find creators. Okay. People creating content, TikTok, everywhere. Okay. Be very wary of this. If somebody picked you randomly and said, hey, let's go over to this other place and talk about this, radar up. Computer support. Okay, this thing pops up all the time. All right. All you got to do is close the tab. It will go away. Do not call the number. They're going to talk you out of a credit card. Secret shopper. Okay, secret shop. There's a lot of legit secret shoppers. All right. Here's what they do. The bad ones, they send you a check. There's the check. Okay. And they say, okay, take this money, go out and go to this gym, get a workout, and then write a report on how good that was. And then go to this restaurant, get a meal, write a report on food quality, service, etc., ambiance, whatever's left over. Keep $400 for yourself. Wire the rest away to this address. And if you do that, what you will find is 10 days after you deposit this, your bank comes back and says, well, that was a real routing number, but a fake account. This is a forgery. We're going to take all that money back out of your account. So I hope you enjoy the workout and the meal, because they were expensive. All right, some do's and don'ts, and then we're done. Don't follow every link you get, all right? Especially if you didn't expect them. Fake apps, yeah, there's a lot of fake stuff out there, and you got to be wary of this. The bait, you've seen all these examples of the bait. Eyes up, return address, undisclosed recipients, yeah, bad grammar, asking you to perform an action having something to do with money, okay? Patch your vulnerabilities. Don't forget to reboot. That last one there, really important. If Gmail and Facebook live here, you're not going to pollute a work computer. When I was at the city of Seattle, I could prove 40% of the compromised assets came from the use of personal email, okay? Personal use on a personal device. Don't circumvent security controls. When the big red Microsoft page comes up and says, we really don't recommend you go any farther than this, don't go investigate. Don't reuse passwords. Better to use a password vault and not store credentials in browsers. After we get done with this presentation, I am going to renew all this stuff for October, because that's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And we're going to talk a whole lot more about credentials and things like that. Don't pick up USB sticks. Do use multi-factor authentication. More than anything, if you see something, say something. Report it. There will be a way in your organization to report something. And if you're wrong, cool, no problem, right? But err on the side of caution. And with that, Virginia, back to you.
Mike, that was a lot of information in a very condensed format. And really, thank you so much for jumping in with all of these deep pieces of information that we've provided at a level that I think all of us can consume. Thank you for our audience joining us here today. Yes, you will receive a copy of this presentation, but we do encourage you to come back. And Mike, why is that?
Because this stuff changes, and we're going to be changing our presentation here to align more with what's currently out there, what we're facing right now. So there's going to be more artificial intelligence that we're going to talk about.
Oh, yes. And obviously, maybe not for everybody, but very much for us here at Critical Insight, October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So we're going to be keeping you up to date with all the different things that are out there. And please come back next month if you're interested. We do have our regularly scheduled webinars, so please check out our website, criticalinsight.com/events, to see what we have coming up. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm Virginia at criticalinsight.com. If you have any other parting thoughts for us, Mike, what are they?
The internet is a nasty, nasty place, and you should not trust it. I can't dwell on that enough. Everything out there is trying to fool you, take your money away, or make you think something they want you to think. So just be very aware of that.
Thank you, Mike. And Brad, thank you so much for joining us in the chat and answering all of our questions that
Thanks,
were
Brad.
in the chat. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Yep. Bye, everybody.